I used to study how flowers were put together. Ask the question, why do trees stand up? Why do those heavy oak branches not just snap off? All those things intrigued me, and I found that those things began influencing my art.
My father taught me to see, to really observe. The countryside became an art gallery for me. It was a game of hide and seek. I would go out and I would simply look for things that interested me.
The Neal family moved into Bishopsmead on Kingston Road in 1947. Elder brother Keith immediately fell in love with the biggest room, which I suppose is the privilege of the eldest. And he thought, I'm very interested in natural history. I want to make this my museum, and my younger brothers can help me do that.
My first memories were of going on nature walks, or rather being dragged on nature walks. My two elder brothers, they had bicycles and they were going off exploring the countryside. But my parents would take me on country lanes and we'd go into meadows and woodlands and nature reserves. And they would point out the names of plants, the names of animals if we saw any, butterflies, because in those days there were lots of butterflies. And I got really enthusiastic because Dad taught me how to catch them with a net. And he got that enthusiasm from my grandfather. So these interests go back a very long way.
We all were used to going out into the countryside with our parents, who were very, very keen on natural history and very knowledgeable. Keith was equally passionate, and he decided to form a club, the Natural History of Living Things, or NHOLT for short. There was another room in that attic which caught my eye, which Dad had turned into his workshop. So it had a lovely big bench, good light, and it was here that I would start making things and dreaming of what I wanted to make. In particular, I wanted to build a boat and explore the River Taunton and the Somerset rivers.
Not only was Dad a great naturalist, he was a very good photographer, nature photographer. And I was always fascinated to see him set up to take a picture. In those days, he had a field camera. It was all brass and mahogany, had a ground glass screen at the back. He had to put a hood over his head so that he could see what he was focusing on. And all this just to take one picture. I really was really taken by all of this. And then I do remember the day I was given my first camera, a box Brownie. Oh, that was a terrific day.
I found a lot of school friends were also interested in canoeing, so we had many expeditions onto the local rivers. And here I realized how much natural history I had absorbed during these family outings. Because as well as having a lot of fun on the river, I was also looking out for things that moved. I also loved sketching, so on many of these trips, I would have my sketchbook, and when we stopped for a tea break or lunch break, there I would be with my sketchbook, recording the scene and sometimes finding an interesting structure which I could copy. The weirs, the bridges, those sort of things. I was interested in how things went together, and as time went on, this interest moved into engineering. But I never lost that love for form and shape.
Now, I hope that the pictures that I've taken will encourage others to go out into the countryside and maybe see things just a little bit differently.